Thank you guys for all showing up again. I appreciate it. Hopefully we'll go a little bit slower today. But as you're probably aware, this will be part 2 to the Center of American Studies, or an epilogue, as I would like to call it. So we'll move right along because we've already got the background knowledge. We've already set the stage, I guess you could say. But here's what we're going to go over today. We're going to really dive into things. I've set the stage, now we're jumping into it. So the first one we're going to cover is concepts. So to give a broad overview of this, we're going to talk about some things that we actually talk about in the program, or different things that can come up throughout the program. And then related to that will be courses, which will be the next thing we talk about. And I don't want to give away too much, but there's definitely some interesting courses that I can choose from, and you can too if you take this program. And the third one is the student research topics. So this will all make a little bit more sense in the future, but it's a course-based master's with the summer months being a MRP or a cognate paper. But we'll get right into that. And with the end goal of today, we're going to hopefully basically finish off at a point where I'm hoping all of you can register for next September in the MA American Studies program. That's the end goal. You should be on your way. So we're starting with the concepts, and I have a couple pictures that I pulled off from the internet again. They're called internet memes, or just funny pictures basically. So I just want you to look at, there's 4 of them that I've picked. So if you look at them, just have some thoughts, and we'll just discuss them in a minute. Here's the first one. A lot of the images I actually tried to pull up on American memes were very inappropriate, so I had to be very selective. So just keep these in mind. Remember the 4 of them. Sorry for the quality of this one. But this is actually Mitt Romney's campaign slogan. So that's the 4. So the first question up here I just have to you. I just want to know your guys' thoughts. Which image resonates with you? I want to get the discussion going. Like I said yesterday, there's no wrong answer for sure. Just were there any specific images or words that come to mind on any of the images, or multiple? Matthew?
Definitely the map, I think, for me, just because it kind of resembles the arrogance that they kind of demonstrate on a daily basis.
Yeah, definitely. That's important.
Yeah, for me that one, and the next one, the campaign of, no, the other one?
Yeah,
Keep America for Americans.
Yeah.
Because since I'm Mexican, we suffer a lot of that, with segregation and discrimination from Americans.
Mm-hmm.
So it really feels like,
Yeah. Is there any other thoughts?
To me, the next one,
The winning?
Yes.
winning is just our thing. And I have been working with United States Agency for International Development for long.
Okay.
And I mean, we also say it to other donors that USAID is the donor for this country.
I guess I brought that one back to how we were being critiqued in the Winter Olympics in Vancouver for being too American when we were celebrating the gold medals, like John Montgomery's gold medal, and how he had walked through the village and somebody gave him a pitcher of beer and he walked down and he was drinking his pitcher of beer, and suddenly we were American because we were behaving in the same way.
Right.
I thought, oh my goodness.
Okay,
Yes.
so what you guys brought up, there was great points. Thank you for that. And these are just some things that we talk about in the American Studies program, just different concepts like this. This wasn't hard. I didn't do like comprehensive research on this. I just Googled some funny pictures. And you guys definitely had brought up some really important things, especially the last point, Wendy, what you said about being un-American. That's something as Canadians I think we define ourselves as here. Something, it's definition by negation almost, that it's something that we will define ourselves as first. We're not American. So for that, there's a lot of underpinnings, and as I said here, there's a lot of underlying meanings and messages behind all these images and things like this. So it's not. Yes, it may seem innocent as a joke or just something to laugh at, poke fun at, but there definitely are some deeper subterranean messages behind this, and we can really dig deeper into this. So as I have here too, in this last point, all of these topics or concepts that we brought up here can definitely be launching pads for different study in my program. So to me, I think that's really interesting. It's something that I'm passionate about, just trying to understand the culture behind this, why they Americans are this way. And there's political and history ties to this too, which I think is just really, really interesting. And also I mentioned that these concepts lend themselves to presentations, projects, research papers, and various other academic studies or mediums such as courses. So this is where we move into the bread and butter of our program, or my program, what we'll be actually getting into. So as I mentioned earlier, the MA program in American Studies, it's course-based. So first term, starting September, I'll have 2 courses, and same with the winter term. In the summer, we write our MRP, which is a cognate paper, Master's Research Project. So it's a big summation of what we've done, but it's on one specific topic. It's not a thesis, but it's a similar. But what we have here is the 2 mandatory classes that I will be taking. The first one is American Studies 950A, Method and Practice. I apologize if it's a little tough to read, but it's a hyperlink, so I had to do that. And at first, I was a little skeptical about this. I said to myself, methods and practice, oh, we're getting all theoretical. I don't know if I'm really going to like this. But when I click on here, I'll actually bring up the syllabus for the program. Here we go. So this is actually the course syllabus that we have. And I just want to draw your attention to this section right here. So what we'll actually be doing is picking a concept or a theme or a specific, as the professor says here, a specific topic, text, problem, or historical episode at the beginning of the term. And he has examples here. And then what we're actually doing throughout the year is analyzing this concept, I'll call it, and in multiple different ways, with the final paper being the end product. So it's something that we continually analyze, and something, so it's anything that really, those images I showed you, if there was one thing that latched out at you or you're like, wow, I'd like to dig at this a little bit more, you could do a whole course on it. That could be your first term project. So I think that's really neat. So you could pick American xenophobia, American nativism. There's a list of different aspects of the whole culture that you could choose to study and take it from different angles in an interdisciplinary fashion. So to me, that's very, very neat. It's something that I think is very fascinating. So if we go back to the slideshow, next term I have Foundations in American Cultural Studies. And as I mentioned yesterday, the American Studies, there's also 2 streams. So the other one is the Canadian-American Relations, and that was a little political science-y for me, so I wanted to go into the cultural side of it. So this will be the actual course, and this one is not online for this year. However, I talked to the professor from this year, but this is the one from last year, and here's the topic of the course. So Foundations American Cultural Studies, Violence in U.S. Culture. And here's a little write-up. I won't read the whole thing to you, but to me, this is just something that's just amazing to research and study at a graduate level like that. It was amazing, and I was actually I was invited to sit in on one of these classes because I did my undergraduate at Huron, right across the street. So I was here. They invited me to sit on one of these classes. We talked about the Vietnam War and what that meant in the American context. But it was just something that was just absolutely amazing to go into. And I was told that this year's topic will be violence in schools, so school shootings and things like that in America. So definitely a contemporary as well as a historically significant topic. So the final, or the third area that I would like to talk about here is the student research topics. So they're, as I mentioned right here, they are as broad and varied as the discipline itself. So these are some of the actual topics since 2010 to this past summer that are online, and you can access them. This year's aren't online, but these are just at random, more or less at random. I just chose some varied topics. This paper I've actually had to read through. It's just fabulous, the research that they do, and you can really see how it lends itself to different areas of study, not just history or political science, because there's a lot of different topics: film, sport history, as well as gender studies, women's rights, as well as the American South, so history. The professor that supervised this paper is in the Women's Studies faculty here at Western. And there's 2 more here. And I just went on the site and just looked at the papers, just gathered a couple. So to me, this is something that is just really, really amazing to hear about. And it's not just abstract or theoretical. Like, there's some things that are definitely pertinent to contemporary world. This has implications right now, right here. So it's not just that we're doing things that are just staying in academia and just being talked about. Like, this is some really concrete stuff. So I think that's really, really impressive. So these are just questions that I would like to pose to you, and we could discuss them in our next topic, or we can discuss them after class together on your way out if you're really passionate about it. But these, in summation, just like yesterday, I have another simple math equation, different equation, but same results. So it's going to be these concepts mixed together with the courses that I talked about and that I'll be having, as well as the student research topics those are from the MRPs that are done in the summer. It's the combination of these 3 together that gives us the CAS, or the Center for American Studies at Western, which is one of many solid graduate programs at Western University. So thank you very much.